Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our workshop today on early reading and phonics skills. Along with us, we have Suchita. She is the clinical head for our online vertical. And we have Komal Sharma, who is the speaker today. And she is a reading specialist and a special educator by training. So we would like to go over her presentation first. We'll talk about the early learning and early reading and the importance of reading from the early years itself and how can be reinforced as a parent in the home setting. And once she's done with her presentation, you can ask questions. And if you have any other feedback or questions during the presentation, you can let us know, or in the chat box, you can add the questions. We will try to take them as they are coming. Otherwise, in the last 10-15 minutes, we would like to have a discussion. So without wasting any time, I think we can start the presentation.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good evening. So I'm going to start the presentation. If, as ma'am said, if you have any question, you can write that in the chat box and we'll take all the questions later. There are a lot of mothers. I can see, I know a lot of people also in this workshop right now. So mothers are generally, during this time, it's February month, the school is going to start soon after this whole pandemic thing, and they are anxious about this reading thing. So what is basically reading and how to go about it? So there are certain things which as parents we need to understand. One is reading is a part of language. It is not a separate thing. So when we talk about reading, first is we need to talk about language as a whole. So language, when you teach the language, you don't teach it in segments like today I'm going to talk about alphabets. Next time I'm going to talk about sound. Then we'll make words and then we'll make sentences and then we will have a conversation. So this is not the way we kind of talk, right? Same goes for reading. So when we are even starting that whole process of reading, teach it as a whole language because it is meaningful. It has to be meaningful. When we think that like reading starts when we start teaching alphabets like A, B, C, D. So that's just one particular alphabet and not reading as such, right? So that's just the identification of alphabets. That is definitely a part of the thing. But my advice is whenever you have that term in mind, reading, start as a language as a whole, which is a meaningful thing, which is a beautiful thing, which is just not there to read in book or something. It is something which we live on a day-to-day basis. So language is also there when you use your body language, you use facial expression because it also conveys meaning. So make it rich in your day-to-day life, and that's the way the child basically starts understanding that there is something which is meaningful, and so that's how the process starts. So to all the parents and educator, my advice is to stimulate the language in everyday life in terms of even how to ask a question, use expressions, use music around, rhymes, all these things to stimulate the whole thing. Give them print awareness, not only in books. There are a lot of in your day-to-day life, when whatever you buy, whatever products you have around, there is a print, there is a label. Make them aware that there is a particular thing around and which has alphabets, which has words, and slowly and gradually they start understanding that this has a meaning. And there is a particular way we go about it. So it is left to right, top to bottom, and it is kind of giving them that exposure in that print before making them actually read the thing. So they understand that this is a word. It is again segmented into letters, and then there is a space also between the sentences or the words. So this is how you give them a exposure. Again, which I emphasize a lot, don't make it dull. Reading has to be they should enjoy reading. If it will be boring, like some black letters, words written there, so that is not the way it should start. So always start with good pictorial books, use books which has a lot of like colorful pictures. First start with like teaching those pictures instead of straight away jumping to the words and sentences. So again, there is a particular myth around it. So parents start asking us when the child goes to nursery, oh, now how should I go about reading? Not in nursery. It's basically you're actually late. So when we are talking about reading, it basically starts with these 4 skills. First is listening, speaking, and then it's the third stage, which is over here. Like you can't jump directly to this particular stage, which is reading. Okay, so before reading, we need to be careful about that. There has to be listening. The child should be able to understand the spoken language first. The child should be able to use language, right, in the environment to express his or her ideas. Should have rich vocabulary. Okay, because when the child has that language, it would be easy transition to just like kind of just decode the things and they just start reading. But if the child already has gaps in terms of the child doesn't have enough vocabulary, the child doesn't understand the words, the child is not able to express and speak about it, you will definitely see delays in reading. So this is my advice, that before jumping to reading, please start working on the listening and speaking skills. So moving forward, so here when we talk about reading, actually reading still like starts here when we kind of talk about in a technical word, when we start decoding it and all. But first major thing is listening and speaking. At this stage 3, it's that like when the child starts imitating those rhymes, start repeating those words. Child understands the rhythm in the words. The child understand not exactly as a blend, but child is able to do, okay, you say sa, ga, ra, pa, like that. So the child is able to blend sounds in natural environment. Like there's so many sounds which they hear, train sound, birds chirping sound, all those sounds. So they start enjoying those sounds. So that's the beginning of it. When we talk about this particular thing, when we talk about this particular thing, like okay, so now the child starts understanding, okay, this is one sound, this is a combination of sound, but in an enjoyable way. When they're singing, doing rhymes, they start even understanding the meaning of things when they do action words with rhymes and all. So this is how you kind of initiate the whole process. Then at a particular stage, when they enter the nursery grade or before that in their pre-nursery stage, then we start teaching them that particular phonemic awareness. Like there are sounds related to these alphabet, how to decode those, how to associate those sounds with the alphabets, right? So this is how it starts. But that doesn't mean that you start only through that first, that you will teach alphabets, then you'll teach phonic sounds. No, it has to start early. Early means when the child is like even 1.5 years or before that. When it comes to your language, like you have to give language exposure, you need to start early when the child is a lab baby itself. And again, introducing book. Don't wait that the child will go to nursery, then I'll buy books. No, start buying books when they're just like few months old. They at least will know how to take care of the book, how to fiddle with the book, how to at least they will understand this is the top, this is the bottom of the book. So my advice to all the educators and parents, focus on the language as a whole, make it enjoyable, use a lot of expression, use a lot of body language to teach the meanings of the thing, because that really stays with them. If I'll just take it as a worksheet or take it as just a book with few words and alphabet, kids don't enjoy that, and it doesn't stay then for a longer period of time, and then it becomes a task. So it's a big umbrella, as you can see here. This is the topic we are going to now I'm going to give you the basic thing, like what is phonological awareness. So most of the people just think that, okay, I know about phonics. I know there are consonants, there are vowels, there are certain sounds associated with it. Yes, it is. But there is a particular, this workshop, the whole idea of doing this workshop is like we meet so many parents and educators. They just know that, okay, there are consonant sounds and like, no, the sounds are like that, or it is beyond that. Okay, so what's the process? How do we go about it? What are the steps involved in it? So I'll just go one by one to make you understand the whole thing. 1 second, just 1 second. So now let me, like, again, I'm not an educator who will just like, no, just go as a particular as a, like, I'll present it as a task sheet and like, no, go about it like, no, this is the thing. First, let the child enjoy the language. Let the child experience it. Use puppets, use some make-believe stories, right? Let the child enjoy that thing. And when you are kind of like introducing that particular sound, make it in a sense that the child understand, oh, there is a blending, there is a segmenting, there is a particular thing which they're supposed to do when they will be actually reading the word, because you have already done the background work already. It's just that now child has to associate those phoneme with the grapheme, right? So it is basically a decoding tool used for developing reading skills and encoding tool for spelling. So now you know that there are sounds, single sounds, and there are grapheme letters, right? So there are 44 sounds, which I'm going to tell you now and how to go about it. So this is, as you could see in the umbrella, there's an onset and rhyme thing. So it happens naturally. So when I am saying that, like, no, use a lot of rhymes, use a lot of songs, you use a lot of like role plays when you're doing it, it becomes a natural thing for the kid. You don't have to do it as a program thing. So like, what is that like? Onset and rhyme thing is when you segment the beginning sound with the rest of the word, with rest of the tail of the thing, like k, at, cat, mo, right? And this, they do it in rhymes, they do it in songs, and that's how they start enjoying it. Syllable is a single unbroken sound, which is we call it as a beat thing. Like my name is Komal. Komal. So how many syllables are there? 2. So this is how actually we also kind of read the new words. It's a basic strategy to read a new word. Even if it is a big word for me, this is exactly how I'm going to read it. So right from the beginning, work on the skills. Eventually they learn the sounds and the grapheme and everything. First, teach the skills. Rhymes, very, very important. And for the same reason, we have a rhyme program where we generally work around that particular thing. And through rhymes, we teach the words and the whole process. Teaching rhymes is very important. Segmentation, like for example, my advice, never ever split a word and then teach it. This is just a strategy right now, which I'm going to tell you. It's not act. It's cat as a word which has a meaning. First, teach the meaning, that it is a meaningful word. And when you are teaching the sound, then you can just segment it, right? So this is an ability to segment the whole word into these particular phonemes. But now here, this helps in spelling, but don't initiate it as a reading process, because the word is cat and the child should read it as cat only. This strategy helps in spelling, when especially they are trying new words. Blending again is a skill which is, even in songs we do it, even when we do rhymes we do it. So don't take it as this is something which I have to teach. That has to be a part of your child's language, right? When you're even like kind of playing around with the sounds and just even doing some nonsense words or something like a play thing. But when it comes to teaching, so the child should be able to blend the sounds together. So there is a whole process for it. But this is like, if I have to okay, I'm just giving this particular thing to my kid, and the child should be able to blend it together into form a meaningful word like dog, right? Substitution. Now, the child's ability to understand that there is a word family, and the child can play around with the sound. Like there is a basic structure at. If I'm removing k sound there and I'm adding, so it will become hat. Okay, so this is how they enjoy. They have enjoyment is the first thing for a kid. If the child will not be able to enjoy the whole thing, it will become boring, and at a point it will be stressful for you as parents and as educators. So let them enjoy through these skills. Reordering, like if I have given the word to the kid using the same example, so I have given CAT. Let the child play with the words and sounds and make different words, right? So this helps. This really helps, because then it is not a list of words which I have to do. The child explores it on its own. Deletion, like for example, the word is there, cart. If what it will be if I remove the t sound from the end, it will become car. So it is these are games basically. If you will do it, introduce it as a thing which you are enjoying, they will love it and they will remember it for a long time. And it will be a part of their day-to-day thing. You don't have to teach it separately. Yes, you have to introduce, but make it more meaningful, and let them enjoy the thing. So I'll just quickly take you through this whole process. How do we start it, and what should be the sequence? There is no right way or wrong way. Main thing is the child should be able to enjoy it. Okay, so definitely there are letter names which we call alphabets. The child should be able to identify alphabets. Child should be able to understand consonant letter sounds, vowel letter names, sounds. So we generally start with the CVC pattern. What is CVC? Is consonant, vowel, consonant. It's a single syllable word like mop, pig, one sound thing, right? So this is how we first teach the thing. Again, onset rhyme thing is generally, this is how we teach it, how to teach the beginning sound, the ending sound, and then we introduce the vowel sound. But the first thing is never ever teach it as it is like no, it's pig only. It's just that the beginning sound is p and the ending sound is g. Okay, don't unnecessarily teach it like p, g, like that. Oh no, sorry, that's not the way a word is. Word is pig only. Then we teach the double consonant letter words. So like miss, hill, all these sequence words are there. There's a whole list of words. ALL words, ILL words, all these word series are there. So when the child sees a repetition there, when the child sees that, oh, there is a predictability, oh, there is a pattern. Even in language, there is a pattern. The more predictable it is, the child sheds the fear. They understand, oh, there is a pattern. I just need to change the beginning sound of it, and the rest is same. And that gives them confidence. And same words you can use in stories, same words you can use in rhymes. You can ask the child to make rhyme around it, and they love it. Then we have these ending word families. There is a whole list of word families, and this is where the child starts gaining the confidence in 4-letter words. Again, it is really easy. In terms of if I start with ank, believe me, kids love it. They keep inserting that beginning consonant sound, and they enjoy making new words around that. And they understand, oh, it's very easy, right? No, this is just a similar sounding, similar thing. Word families are easy, more predictable, and at the end of this thing, when you make them count, oh, how many words, spellings you can write, suddenly it becomes 50 or 100, and that gives them confidence.
Komal, there's a question. Please say one rhyme or story that teach phonics by Prasanna Mohan. So does anything comes on top of your mind?
So you can use this Jolly Phonics series. That is based on that rhyme only. There are that is available on Startfall. So you can just go there. It is a free thing. and their basic strategy is to teach through rhyme and teach through stories only.
So basically, you're saying if they will go to starfall.com, which I will put it in the comment section, and there is a one beginning series which is free of cost. Parents can go and take the material, and Jolly Phonics early series of that is there. And also to add, a lot of Dr. Seuss books are all very, very rhyming words, and they're very, very similar kind. They teach phonics very well in the initial years, right? So that's it.
Yeah, so a lot of material is there online, and that's the whole point. Even like right now, we are meeting through this Zoom call and all. So if you will search, there are a lot of material available already on the sounds and all. Right, that's the same reason we are not focusing here to teach you the sound. Sounds needs practice, right? So as a parent, also suddenly if I'll ask you to use this, it's not that easy. It will not come in one workshop. You have to kind of practice it, because this is the new way of teaching. When we learn through sight words, and sight words are also very, very important. It's not that just because of this phonics we are going to forget about sight words. So sight words are again give more confidence, and 80% of reading comes from sight words only. So that is also very important. Being new parents, being educators, now, this is also a wonderful way of making the child confident about that I can write my spellings. I don't need to learn them by heart, right? So this is to give them that confidence that it is a just combination of sounds and some rules which you have to keep in mind. Reading should not be stressful. That's the whole idea.
And also, if I can add that phonological reading is a newer concept of reading, and the research has proven that phonic reading is it's a better way of reading. That's why there's a lot of emphasis on the phonics. But as Komal said, while we were growing up few years back, 20 years back, we were only doing sight words. Along with phonics doesn't mean that sight words go away, because everything is not phonetic reading. There are a lot of sight words where you don't use phonetics. So sight words go hand in hand with phonics, right?
Yes, absolutely. So that's a combination which we go kind of work around. So we teach phonics at the same time. There's a list of sight words. There are a lot of names for it. So that is also important to introduce those words as well, right from nursery level. So there's a proper list of sight words that is also available online. Whenever you will search for that, you will get a lot of lists which are there. Is this the purpose of doing this workshop is to make you aware that don't take stress about reading. It is about only language. It is about just learning those particular sound, the way of this new way of teaching it, but you can literally enjoy because it is predictable. And when you work around with the sound, we all love singing songs, right? So it is always enjoyable. So just be careful about that thing. Whenever you're introducing any new sound, whenever you're introducing any new particular thing, which we will be just discussing, like if we are doing blends or anything, there's so many games. There are so many particular things which we can do with the kid instead of just making it, okay, this is the list, learn the spellings and just give the test. Then reading will also become a subject. So it has to be a thing where it is based on language which we use. Yeah. So the flow goes like this. So consonant sounds, vowel combinations, CVC. Then word families with double consonants. Then we have these word families with lot of vowel combinations. Like you can see here, it is A combination, ank, ink, onk, ank, ink. Again, there is a pattern. Kids enjoy that because there is a predictability and they can also make their own words. So the best way to do is introduce the thing, make them understand the pattern. Like for example, what I do is, I'll just quickly tell you the strategy which I use. Like for example, if I'm teaching ank words, right? So there is a proper way. There's a visual perception that there is a visual thing around this word combinations ank. This is how I write it, right? Even from a distance, I can understand there is something related to this thing. Okay, now I just need to make new words. Like I'll introduce one, let the child put one. Even if it is a non-meaningful word, how does it matter? Right now, I'm just playing with the sounds. And then ask the child to pick the words which are meaningful. And there's a game which we play. We make a lot of combinations, and then we play this game of thumbs up. If it is meaningful, thumbs up. If it is not, it is not meaningful, thumbs down. And that's how it is, something the child is learning on its own, without like no kind of making it as a stressful thing. Let them also explore the sounds. No, let them also understand. Oh, fank. Oh, cank is not a word. Bank is a word. Yeah, like that. Okay, so after this, one second, I'll just increase the size of it. Yeah. Okay. So after that, so there are consonant diagrams. Again, very interesting ones. You can just like have a lot of games around these. Ch, th, sh. Okay. Generally, how I introduce it, I just introduce it as a story first. I make the child underline those particular diagrams, and then I make the child understand, oh my God, so many words with this particular sound, and let's explore the sound. Instead of, oh, this is a diagram, I need to teach it. So that then it becomes a stressful activity. That at the end of the thing, my child should be able to kind of write 10 words with sh sound. Okay, yes, that is my target, that is my objective, but let the child also enjoy that. Oh my God, there's so many words which start with actually sh sound, right? So many, there are animals around, there are so many objects around, let them identify those. So then blends. Now, when we say, so one is that blending of the sound, and these are blend. This is we categorize it so that it becomes easy for the kid to understand it. So when you are teaching, like for example, I see a lot of teachers do this. Like they will say like crow. No, this is not k sound. This is kr sound. Okay, when I say train, I will not ever use this word train to teach t sound, because it's not t, it's tr. The beginning sound is tr here and not t. So be careful when you're using these words, especially with when you're teaching B sound or and T sound, right? So it's if it is this, it is not b rain, it's br ain. Yeah. So you as parents, you also have to be careful while teaching these particular things. These are called, so like if it's a L combination, like blah, gl, cl, right? So this is a combination. I cannot call it as club, club. No, it's club, up, club. Yeah. So this is the way you are supposed to introduce it. There is a particular pattern. There's a way. Of course, it is about sounds, but there is a technique. There is a strategy. Okay. So same way, first after doing these, we introduce L blends. Then there are R blends, like same way, which I was just saying, telling you. C, tr, cr, br, like that. And again, these are again like, these are all meaningful words, right? They know so many words already which starts with this sound. The only thing is you have to be careful about, it's together. They are together. So now in the beginning, when I said 44 sound, there are 26 alphabets. Why did I say it 44 sounds? Because of the same reason. Yeah. So this is the way we go about it. Be very careful. If it is a L blend, if it is a R blend, this is exactly how you need to segment it. This is exactly how you need to teach it. Then we have a series of S blends. Okay, the combinations, naturally when I say S blend, consonant blends. So I will not be putting a vowel here, I'll be putting consonants here in the combination. Sk, st, sm, sp. Beautiful games are available for this, teaching this, and kids really enjoy playing these games, making those particular bingo, playing those bingo games, card games, board games. So again, the way to teach is, if it is skip, so how you will teach is ip, skip, not ip or skip. It's ip, skip. So after this S blend, then we have these consonant clusters where generally we have three consonants together, right? So there's a whole series, though there are not lot of words around this. And another advice or kind of a strategy which I use is, see, after teaching CVC, don't start jump to like, no, if I have to teach L blend, I will not, for example, if I have to teach L blend, I will not pick a big word like flower. Yeah, because see, for a kid who has just done a three letter word, it is too much for a kid. Yeah, so my advice is after CVC, which if you see is a 3-letter word, if even I have to teach blend, I will go for the words like at, like that. Yeah, so my kind of way of doing it is, take it slowly, right? Don't suddenly think after doing CVC, my child will be, yes. Again, there is a thing. Definitely, I would want my kid to understand the beginning sound in flower and being able to understand that it's a flip sound, but I would not want my kid to know it as a spelling at that level. Keep your objectives very clear, right? If I'm teaching globe, my objective, because see, it has a E as well, and suddenly that O becomes O. That's another strategy and a rule, phonic rule. So here my objective is just to make him identify the beginning blend. Yeah. So just be careful around these things, because sometimes we just like not able to identify that we are still teaching a kid. So they go step by step. So when we talk about identification of beginning sound, it means only the beginning sound or the blend. It doesn't mean that after the session, the child will be able to write such big spellings like flower or blood or blade or like those. Yeah. So the criteria is to understand the blend. Okay. Same goes for this thing. My advice, not to use big words in the beginning, especially at the KG level. Use 4-letter words. Yes, as the understanding, you can use a lot of words. Try for nouns, proper pictorial things, those which you can show as pictures also. Don't try not to take words which they don't see around. Like, for example, if I have to introduce pr as a sound, I will not use pritzel, because pritzel is a thing which is not very common in India, right? Just be careful around the background as well, and how many words the child will be able to identify. Meaning is really important. So just always be careful about that. So then we teach 2-syllable words, how to segment it. There is a proper particular series on R control vowel words, where we teach these sounds, like how to teach or, air words. Okay, there's a whole vowel combination, whole series of thing. And again, how to identify as beginning sound, how to identify as middle sound, and how to identify it as a ending sound. Again, it is a spelling, it is a particular skill, but making the child aware of these combination is also very important. So for example, if I have to teach this particular thing, what I did, if for example it is star, so my objective is not to teach st as a S blend here. My objective is to teach the R control vowel AR. So how I'll go about it, I'll make a picture of it, talk about that picture, and then we'll leave it blank. Let the child explore it, because the child knows it. It's not the child doesn't know it. It's just that we are making them aware. Oh, that there's a particular, see, if I'll add this sound here, it will become this meaningful word. The kids know it. It's a part of their language. It's just that you just need to teach them the pattern and how it is coming in the beginning, how it is coming in the ending, and always go with this particular thing. Always work for the beginning thing, ending thing, and then last stages work on the middle one. We have this vowel combinations here, and magic E, very, very important. This is a confusing one initially when we introduce it in the KG. Why suddenly mad becomes made. So the kids are like, cut becomes cute if we put E here. So there is a phonic rule here. When we add magic E, the short vowel becomes the long vowel, right? So this is how we kind of teach it, and the best way to teach it, they have already done CVC series, so make them understand or realize it. Oh, it's the magic E which is bringing this change. Suddenly cap becomes cape. How? Because they have mad. If, oh, this is like, no, wow, let's play this game, right? If I add this, what it will become? It will become, one, meaning is going to change for sure. And oh, I knew the spelling of mad. Suddenly it became made. So then let them realize that this sound is also changing here. So if you will introduce it as a, oh, this is the rule, learn it. It will become boring. They will forget it after some time. Let them realize, because it's not something which they have not done earlier. They have learned mad and there is made. Why? Oh, there is this change. Let them figure it out. What's the change? There is a change. Definitely three letter has become 4 letter. They will come up with this thing. This is how the kids will give you answer. Oh, there are 4 letters now. Okay, what else? What else is the change? Oh, there is extra E. Perfect. What else? Because when you are discussing, they will never forget the spelling because you have discussed it. Yeah, that's important. Made is not M-A-D-E, 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 and that's what's it is a verb. Yes. But you have to make the child understand there is a pattern which is changing and there is a predictability in this. Whenever there is a VC combination and we add E, this vowel sound is always changing. It is not 1 time, 2 time, 3 time. It is always changing. So that's the way to go about it. So this is the whole series. In one workshop, it is not that easy to make you aware of each and every this thing. There are certain particular phonic rules, phonic series. This still here. I'm trying to do it at least up to 5 or 6 years of age. And now let's take some questions first. So if there are some questions around this, you can ask us.
Somebody had raised hand in between. So would you like to ask the question right now? I think, Komal, it was very informative. I will take a question. Somebody has asked, my 4 years couldn't write ABC as he refuses to teach or learn. So do you want to take that question?
Yeah. So again, I'll 1 second. I'll just use my board over here. 1 second. So, like, for example, you are saying this is when it comes to writing, right? So it is basically a visual perception of that particular thing. Okay. So, for example, if I say, if I'm at your place, right? So I will not follow that particular sequence. I'll teach first A and then B and then C. What I generally do with my kids is, 1 second, if I can just show you through this whiteboard. Okay, I'll use my PPT and I'll use that blank space. Okay, so the child is refusing or the child is not able to understand it. Try to understand that it is complicated, right? So, okay, now I'm going for both lowercase and uppercase. If I have to teach uppercase, I will never go like this. It is actually very difficult for a kid to understand, okay, suddenly there's a slanting line, this, and a sleeping line, 2 slanting lines and 1 sleeping line. And when I learned alphabet B, it becomes 2 reverse C and 1 standing line. So my way of going about it is, how I go is, first I take only standing lines and sleeping lines. I'll just teach this, and I make sure that my kid understand that there is a particular space where I have to start and end this, right? This is my objective in the beginning. Now I'm going to identify all the alphabets which start with standing line and sleeping line. Please try to understand, a young kid's brain also works through a pattern. Okay, if you will give them a pattern, they will understand it, they will like it, they will find predictability in it. Okay, so L, T, H, I, all these, E, F. Now that is going to give confidence to my kid. Oh my God, you can actually write 6 alphabets. Then what I'll do is, I'll go for the curvy ones, right? So what we call it, C family. 1 second. So how I go about those then I will take, okay, let's do this as all the alphabets which have these curves. First start with a circle, 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 circle. Oh, let's try making a half circle. So clockwise, anti-clockwise. Don't even use the word C, C, C. It is just a curve. This is, you can teach a C, and once the child understands, it is reverse C. Now, so many alphabets you can just make with these, right? So like, for example, with only this C, I can teach C. See, it's so simple. Make a C and then make a 7, it becomes G. So give them that. I use 1 C and a reverse C, it becomes S. So again, the child understands, oh, it is very easy. It's just that I need to learn some curves and lines, few slanting lines, few this thing. And this is how I go about teaching alphabets instead of going in a typical way, A, B, C, D. Try to understand there is a visual perception involved in it. It is not that easy for a kid to understand left and right at that stage sometimes. So we have to go slowly and gradually in a pattern, so that it becomes predictable.
Because we need to take other questions, and also just to add to what Komal said, she used a very good strategies. We should also understand 4-year-old not writing is not a very something. It is giving me some feedback. I need to work on it, but it is not something until 6 years. Children do take time to write also. So developmentally, 4-year-old can sometimes take time, but taking help at a right age will be a good idea. I think Oppo was the first one to raise hand. Can we unmute Oppo F11 Jalaj and take the questions?
Yes, ma'am, I have unmuted. Yeah.
You can ask a question.
ऑन करना अच्छे खड़ा करना
नहीं उन तो बोलना चाहिए कह रहे थे बोलो अनम्यूट करता था
hello
We can hear you. Yeah.
I'm Rajkumar Jindal from Chandigarh. I just want to ask how to better have a conversation with my grandchildren who are below 6 by how to pronounce the words like fascinating, amazing, wow, or wonderful, with making different type of phrases to create interest in science and maths.
Okay, so those words you want to use as a reinforcement? You want them to pronounce the same thing, or you want them to understand the meaning of it, that it is a positive reinforcement word?
Just for myself, for me to improve.
So, sir, the first thing is it is an expression, right? Yeah. So when we express our liking for something which is like amazing, wonderful, exciting, all those things. So there is a facial expression involved in it. And of course, for a young kid, like maybe some kids have very good fluency skills, the verbal skills. So some kids are able to pronounce such big words. And when they will hear you repeat this particular thing, and they will get this expression along with this, one, they will understand the meaning. And second, you can segment it and then teach them. Wonderful. Wonderful has 3 syllables. So you can just break the word and then teach. For pronouncing it.
Okay. My grandchild knows Spanish also. His pronunciation is so perfect now. I can't even understand him. Actually, phonics is for those, I think. English, as you told, English is not that very much suited for phonics. he talks to me for about 1.5 hours at night. No, I teach him science and maths.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Fawzia Sheikh, can we take another question, Jalaj?
Yeah, one more question I wanted to ask. How to make interest in science and maths and general science or social science?
Sir, that's not the topic right now. So we have other parents. You can reach out, you can email, and we can maybe get back to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Nice presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fawzia Sheikh, can we unmute?
Am I audible?
Can you one?
Ma'am?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes, good evening, ma'am. It's a very good session. Thank you so much. I am a mother and a psychologist, and I also help children with special needs in my school in the town Aligarh. So the thing is that we have children with speech problems, with speech impairments. So what would you recommend? How do we go about with the phonics when we are working with children with speech problems?
So when it comes to why there is a discussion about phonics? It's a tool, right? It's a tool for reading, right? So when the articulation itself is not correct right now, right? So the child has to go for speech therapy first, because here we are using phonics as a tool for reading. Yeah, phonic we are not using as a tool for clearing articulation, or we are not using it as a tool for pronunciation of a particular sound, which is already an issue with the kid. Ms. Fawzia, are you there?
Jalaj, can you unmute her because she's muted again?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So best would be to start with the speech therapy first.
Yes, ma'am. And ma'am, why this question? Because somewhere I think in your presentation you did mention that we don't really break the words. We don't really do segmentation.
Depends.
Okay.
If depends, like if it is a big word and there are two syllables in that, that's how we say the word. So we are going to break the word. My advice was if there's a picture of cat and it's cat, don't say act, because that's how they learn. They start imitating you, and that's they think that this is the way to read. Believe me, to work on this particular thing with most of the kids, they start reading like this only. They think this is reading. That is not reading.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I just wanted to add on one thing that I discovered that there is something called snail talk. Jo aap bol rahe the ki read the word as a whole. Yes. So there's something that's called a snail talk that really works with few children. Like sir was also asking a question, how do I pronounce these big words? So I just wanted to say that I discovered this work for some of my students. Like when I say amazing, if I just slow down and the sounds are processed.
Absolutely.
So it works for some of the children. So snail talk has helped a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Fawzia. Thank you so much. Those are general language techniques, because usually what happens, even when a child is growing up, we start talking to children in a very childish manner. But that's not a good way of developing language. We should talk to them like adults only, because children are actually picking up language from their environment. The way we talk, they're picking up language from us. And same goes with the reading. So when you read like a typical normal words, the way we read it. So next question is by Swati Bhatia. Can we unmute?
Swati, you can ask your question now.
Yeah. Good evening, ma'am. My question is, the children, they get confused with the with m and n and b and these kind of letters. So what is the solution for this?
So my advice is those which are this is exactly where this auditory discrimination plays a role. So even before teaching these particular phonemes, right, with the basic idea is play around with the words, right? So there are a lot of rhymes and things where the child starts in a fluency, they play around those words, right? And when you know that as an educator or as a mother, I have to now start this process. So it's just not it's about even so many other sounds around, even in the environment when the child is not able to auditorily discriminate between two sounds, which are similar ones. Right. So first work around those, play a lot of games which have different sounds, and make the child understand that, see, this sound and this sound is different.
Okay, right. Thank you, ma'am. And one more question is, when is the right time to introduce sight words? I mean, after doing all the letters and or...
See, again, it depends on the child's ability as well. But my suggestion to all the parents is, like the way we have a lot of paintings and everything around in our house, even in your kids' room, it is a good idea to have some sight words even when there are 2-year-old, 3-year-old, and the way they recognize McDonald's and Pizza Hut and everything, they will start recognizing sight words as well. So give them that visual exposure, and once in a while go around that thing, and when you're talking, oh, this is that she, this is that thing. So the child will start making those associations that, oh, this also has some meaning. They understand McDonald's sign, they understand Pizza Hut sign, Domino's sign. So why not sight words?
Yeah, sight words go hand in hand.
Is there any list that we have to follow?
Yes, there are a lot of sight word lists which are free downloads are available. You can just go through.
You just Google, put sight words, and there are so many lists, and all of them are pretty good. Linda Booth Bell program is out there. The Dolch list is out there. All of them are good, and sight words are the similar. Even in fact, if you go on Amazon, you can look for really good books which is sight word spellings and how to work with it. So that work in simultaneously. So before I tell somebody to it says H and H together or first. So there was a question about the upper. So as I understand, introducing reading through pictorial for young kid along with reading complete word, not with broken words. Do we need to go with the pitch, the sound, or just like adult reading? Are those words catch by a kid to repeat it? Learning spelling by what age usually? That's a long question. A lot of questions embedded.
So I think Satyendra ma'am already mentioned that, read the way one should actually read and be able to pronounce it. You as adults, we sometimes feel, oh, see, there is a difference when we are doing a drama, when we are doing a rhyme. There is a different way we use that word. But while reading, while talking, we don't stretch those things, right? So especially with the nursery kids, sometimes I see that they speak like, aaj to na main na. So that's not the way you speak, right? So, and if you just kind of check the environment and all, there are a lot of people who think that, oh, they're young, maybe they will learn it in this way. No, that's not the right way, because that's now everyone else in the society is talking to them like that. Then they will not be able to understand the way you are saying and the way other people will be speaking to them.
Absolutely, good one. So I think we can unmute Twinkle Agarwal. We have questions. Jalaj, can you unmute Twinkle Agarwal, please?
Twinkle, you can ask your question now.
Yes. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yeah, ma'am. I have taken the basic training of this phonics program. I have a question. In phonics, for long sounds, we say when two vowels go walking, the first one does talking, and the letter will say its name.
Absolutely.
But in words like bread, head, it is taking short a sound.
That's exactly when we start teaching them long vowel sounds. So we have this particular thing. Oh, they are tricky words, or they have they are exceptions, right? So when at that stage the child start understanding that yes, there are phonic rules, but there are exceptions as well. So especially in English, when you're teaching all these rules, there will be a list of exceptions as well. So you have to keep teaching that as well and make the child understand it's okay to have some exceptions.
These words come in exceptions?
Yes, for example, if there is a particular thing which is not applying. So for example, there are a lot of vowel combination, the sound suddenly will change. Now there is a thing, maybe now we cannot take that whole series, but there are certain rules around those consonant sounds as well. where this vowel is coming along with that consonant. So I'm not clear right now, like, no, if in that list which you are doing, how many other combinations are there. So sometimes it changes because of those combination also.
Ma'am, someone told me they, in later they are having alternative sounds.
Ma'am, there are a lot of techniques, there are a lot of rules, right? That's exactly where I stopped that PPT. That it is a long series, right? And it goes till 7-8 alphabets in a word, right? And then there are a lot of spelling rules, there are a lot of exceptions and all. So we'll be taking that higher level as well, maybe phonic rules as a workshop later on. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And same goes with friend. Same goes with word friend.
Ma'am, again, friend is a big word, right? So there are a lot of, again, vowel consonant combination. It depends on which series we are doing, depends on which rule we are teaching. Okay. And that's exactly when I said, if I have to teach L blend, I'll not pick up flower as a word. That's my personal choice. That also depends on what kind of words you are choosing to teach that particular rule.
Okay. In French, again, it is not I, it is A.
Ma'am, that's exactly. Now there is a particular thing, how it is ending. There is a vowel consonant combination, even in that other series. So we have to see that as well. That which word will fit where.
Okay.
Okay. And also, if I have to add, I'll go to the next question. But before we conclude, isn't it, Komal? I'm just asking from my curious and develop my knowledge as well. Phonological reading is one way of reading.
Yes.
As we develop reading, it doesn't matter whether you read phonologically or you use sight words. It doesn't matter. The idea is to develop reading and to develop reading fluency. Once you become a reader, whatever approach you use, it's absolutely fine. The whole idea is to develop the reading, because jab tak fluency nahi aayegi, you will not develop the comprehension.
Absolutely.
Until and unless you're not able to read at a pace, automaticity nahi aayegi and aapki comprehension nahi aayega. So next question is by Mamta. Can we unmute Mamta?
Mamta, you can ask your question now.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, kids get confused pronouncing the words that are we can हम साउंड से जो बोलते हैं, और साइट वर्ड्स में भी कुछ वर्ड्स वो होते हैं, वर्ड्स होते हैं जिनको बच्चे साइट वर्ड वो साउंड्स के हेल्प से प्रोनाउंस करने की कोशिश करते हैं, तो वहां पे आके कंफ्यूजन होता है बच्चों को, तो वो उसको कैसे हैंडल करें?
So again, when we are talking about there's a list of sight words and all, this has to go hand in hand, right? So the moment you introduce these phonic sounds, you have to start teaching sight words. Okay, like for example, if I have to use, I am teaching CVC words. I will make sure that I'll choose at least 20 to 25 sight words along with that to make it more meaningful, right? So now my objective is to teach basically CVC word, but along with the sight word. Yeah, because when I said I'll start with the story, then I'll go to the sentence, then I'll go to the word, like that. So the child understands that there is a fluency in the thing, and this is the way I can spell it. Nobody is saying that like, no, I need to segment cat as actor and that's reading. That's not reading. Reading is there is a cat. There and is are sight words. When I'm saying there is a cat, there is a mat, there is a bat. So the child understands there's a fluency also happening here. And the child start associating with the thing that it is read as a whole thing. We are teaching phonics, but not to teach them like sound by sound. As Matt said, it has to come to fluency. Whether you do it through phonics, you do it through sight words, but eventually the end product has to be fluent.
Okay.
If I have to encounter a new spelling, I can use my phonics skills to get there. But that is not actually to make a child segment it and then read it. That's wrong way of doing.
Okay. Okay,
so
ma'am.
Thank you. Helps in spelling. So many children come with us. They are good readers because they can use memory. We all should know that first reading is the memory reading. 2 साल का बच्चा भी read करने लग जाता because they can read the words. और after hearing the story, Exactly. So first reading is the memory reading, then comes the phonics, then we introduce sight words, and that's how the whole the algorithm just starts from there. Next person is Pooja Bhatia. Can we unmute Pooja Bhatia?
Yeah, you can ask your question now.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, my question is like, see, I'm very much aware I'm a principal at a preschool. I've been a coordinator. I'm an early childhood specialist, but that confusion being in a small town has always been there, like sleeping and standing lines and following like F, A, these letters first, but isn't it like with children get confused if we don't follow the alphabetical order, or like, we should go. There's a lot of confusion. I'm always confused in this aspect, ma'am.
Okay. So how I see is that as an educator is like, it is a part of sequencing, right? Nobody has made such rule as such. It's just that there's a sequence, there is a rhyme around it. That's how the kids learn it, right? As a ABC rhyme or something. If I have to teach sequencing, I'll use alphabetic pattern, right? Because that's how we teach them dictionary skills. There's a way we go about it, right? Because alphabet bets we use for sequencing. But like if I have to teach a kid, if my child is showing me issues with the curves and the lines, and I'll try to make it simpler, right? I'm not saying that use this method only. It depends on kid to kid. If my child is very good with the visual memory and the particular shapes and this thing, the child will learn automatically. So
there is no hard and fast rule as such of following this.
Absolutely. I take alphabet as a sequencing thing, as a thing which gives me this thing. Okay, this is A, this is B, this is C, and that is order for me.
So it is very wrong to label children as slow learners, but I would say it depends on if children are picking up, we would follow the sequence matter. If they're little difficult in following, we follow a different method. Fine.
Miss Bhatia,
Thank you so much.
The goal is children should develop reading,
yes, definitely. Definitely, that is our goal.
Yeah, these are.
And ma'am, I really missed my earlier part of this thing. Is it possible to get some kind of a recording? My net connectivity was really, really poor.
Sure, we'll look into it, ma'am. We'll look into
it. Thank you so much, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening. Next question is Nikita Dikshit. Can we unmute her?
Nikita, you can ask your question now.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I'm a mom of 7-month-old baby.
Yeah.
I want to know what will be helpful for him. Reading a storybook or conversing him in English means what will he be able to understand? Because we talk to him in Hindi as well.
Okay. So
I'm a teacher also actually. That's what I want to know.
Okay, I thought you have asked as a parent. I was so happy. A 7-month-old baby, no, you have a 7-month-old baby and you are asking for reading. I was like, wow. So that's what we want actually, right? That start early. So it is about language. Reading will happen automatically if you will give them rich environment, rich language environment, right? So now your question is how to start the text.
Should I read a story to him, or shall I talk to him in English? What will be helpful for him?
Okay, so it depends on right now you are not the only one who is interacting with the kid, right? So there's a whole family. So what is your basic language? If it is Hindi, start with Hindi. Because you will be the only one who will be speaking in English, the others will speak in Hindi. It will confuse the child. So start with Hindi, which is your regional language or whatever language. Even if it is any other language, start with that. See, maximum people can speak what language which the child is exposed to, and then when it comes to for example, when the child will be a toddler, what you can start doing it will start with nouns, right? As in object. When you will be around your language, you will start introducing anyways, nobody says mace, everyone says table, right? So small words you can start, and slowly and gradually as a mother, when you will be introducing the books and all, but when you are introducing the book, you're just flipping the word, a book, read in English that time.
So I'll add to what Komal said. Language stimulation can start as early as the child is born. So while you're talking, child is picking up. The language stimulation starts from there. Reading books. So reading is not only about reading. Reading is also what Komal had started with the presentation. You know, initially when the child is in pre-nursery 3 year, we teach the children, this is the first page of the book, this is the last, this is the front, this is the back. From top, from left to right, we read. So there are many aspects which we read, but 7 months onwards, 6 months, you know, just having access to books around, a child can start feeling it, and you reading to your child from now onwards will go a long way. And when you want your child to pick up books which are very pictorial, which has big pictures, so that it's very stimulating and you are actually building up the vocabulary. And only one thing I will add. Yeah, and what I will add, what Komal said, actually you can use combination of languages. If a child does not have delays, you don't have to restrict yourself to one language. Children pick up all the languages simultaneously. So if a child is not picking up language, then we say restrict yourself to one language. But normally you can actually stimulate in all the languages at the same time. And most Indians, we speak 2-3 languages, and children actually pick up all the languages at the same time. So we'll take next question, please.
Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
You can ask your question now, Dar.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. Very good evening. First of all, thank you for taking up my questions. I was very happy. And also thank you for this wonderful session. This is in follow-up with the question that I raised earlier, that my 4-year-old kid who is unable to write right now. The problem with him is when he started school, they started their sessions in February, and March the lockdown started. So it was like the Holi has come up, and then the lockdown followed up. So everything, he could not learn anything in school. So I tried teaching him at home, but he refuses in any method that I put in. Like ma'am had mentioned the straight line and standing line. I tried, that was my first hand I tried on him. I tried teaching him the straight line and the standing line, but he's actually not at all interested in learning, or, I am not able to find any ways how I should, initiate or motivate him how to learn or write. So.
Okay. So, ma'am, what I can understand from your question is that it's just not writing. It is like the whole structure is lacking, right? So the whole structure, when we say structure, even it includes sitting on a table chair and then doing some constructive activity or doing some productive work. So it is just probably the first question was related to particular writing of alphabets. But now your question is around that the child is not doing anything structured in a structured way. Is that right?
I think this is a very personal question, so we can take it offline.
Yes.
Also, Darkaling, I will just say that, again, 4-year-old writing may not be the goal right now.
Yeah.
You can start with actually doing simple coloring, making the child hold the pencil in a right manner, doing some other fine motor activities rather than just jumping on the thing. And lockdown had caused a lot of regression in children, but believe me, they will pick up when the school will open. But at the same time, if you have really something which your child needs a kind of a close look at or assessment, please reach out to the professionals at the right time. So it's a very, we would not be able to judge the right thing in such a big forum. So I think it will not be appropriate to do that. So I'll move to another question. Vidya Rao.
Vidya, you can ask your question now.
Hello. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening. Yeah. Hello. Actually, ma'am, you recently said that we can't teach kh at So I did not understand this point. Like for a nursery kid, if we directly say cat, so he'll not understand. We have to say ka at. So
and why did you say that the child doesn't understand that?
Because I feel for a nursery kid, if we have to first of all introduce them with the sounds. We have to
first introduce with as a real thing, right? That cat is an animal, right? That this is not a thing. It's an alien word or an alien thing, right? That's the most important part.
No, if we teach them spellings, like
okay, that's a different thing. First you said reading, now you're saying spelling. Yeah. Yes, of course. When I said like that strategy we use when I have to segment a CVC, then I will make the child understand, write the beginning sound, think of the ending sound, think of the vowel, and then see how I'm saying it and then write. Right? There are two things, ma'am. Reading is different and writing is different.
And to add to that point, we have to understand what is the end result. End result is the comprehension. And how does the comprehension comes? When we visualize. When you say cat, a child know the noun. A child can visualize with the cat. Okay? So again, please be sure that when you are reading, then you are teaching in the sounds. But the concept is from the comprehension, the child has to visualize the real word. As a cat.
Okay. Sorry, ma'am. Actually, that time when you were saying there was a net connection, I couldn't hear. So that is the reason.
The reason we are here, so that we can interact, we can like connect, and we can like kind of discuss these things, right?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I think we've already surpassed our time and with a good result and thing. Any queries, any suggestions, please put it in the chat or reach out to us. We will bring more interactive sessions like this, and any suggestions for the new topics, we would be looking forward to your feedback. And thank you. We appreciate your such a positive feedback, and we will be looking forward to see you all in the coming sessions. Thank you and a great evening. Bye-bye. Thanks, Komal, a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.